Well, with me today I have Stu Wilson, Gore's finest export. Stu, welcome to the show.
I'm glad you mentioned Gore Win because a lot of interbreeding on goes down there, you know. Even the dogs walk around with club feet down there. You understand that?
It's over to you to talk about your place of birth, not me.
Woof, woof.
Some very good rugby players have come out of there, though. Yourself?
Yes.
Justin Marshall?
Yeah, another Southland boy. Yeah, we've got a few.
Those sort of players?
Yeah, Mills Molina.
Here you go.
Don't know what he went down south for. I would have stayed in the north to give it a sun.
Well, when you did shift out, you didn't stay there too long. You shifted up to Masterton, I believe.
That was another good decision by my father, you know. Went from one icebox to another.
What was it about these? Was he shifting? Was he changing his occupation? What was the...
Just moving with the times, you know, realised that Gore and Southland was a bit cold.
Yeah.
Went to Masterton, equally as cold in winter.
Right.
But just jobs for him and schooling for us, my brother and I in Masterton.
Right. As a young guy, young teenager, I gather that golf and cricket were probably more your sport than rugby because you probably didn't grow a heck of a lot till you left school.
No, that's right. I was a little weed at school. If I did play, played a bit of rugby at school, but always around the halfback position. Yeah. And that was equally too close to the big fellas, so that was no good. But I loved my cricket and equally loved my golf. Mm. And rugby was the sport you just played in winter. Mm. And they were basically cricket and rugby. That's basically what you had in those days. Mm. And golf was for in the school holidays. You know, fantastic.
And even when you shifted to Wellington for work, and you played a bit of footy, you weren't especially serious about it for a start, or?
Nope. No, I rocked down to Wellington from Marston after spending a season at the Wainoa Freezing Works to get a bit of freight to be able to sort of buy, rent a flat and get a car. And I was out at Nensville, which is sort of Onslow Cricket Club districts in Wellington, and I was watching these guys train one night, and there was a big, tall, skinny guy, and a guy had sort of a bit of a slither of grey hair, very much like yourself, and I was just leaning against one of the trees, you know, having a smoke and just looking, and this guy came over and said, "Do you play cricket?" I said, "Yeah, done a little bit, just straight out of school, bit of first 11, not much." He said, "Well, we're short of a keeper on Saturday in the senior Bs. And are you up?" I said, "Yeah, I got the kit up. Yeah, come on, I rock it." And that happened to be one Jay Coney, and the other person that came up was Jay Morrison. Jeremy Coney, John Morrison, who are currently New Zealand reps. Mm. So after a couple of games, I got another lucky break. I managed to play senior club cricket for Onslow. And I had the dubious situation for a whole summer. I wicket keeped, and Jeremy Coney at first slip, and John Morrison at second slip. And that would have to be the most funniest time you'd ever. Because sledging, there was an art of this, and they were absolutely outstanding.
Timing.
I didn't see anything.
So tell me, when did you make the change to some seriousness about rugby? When did that come into the picture?
Well, it's like anything. Any guy that goes from a country area into a big metropolitan area, you know, whoever you're working with or whoever you're with, socialising, you sort of find out, what do you do in the winter? And this guy said, "Well, I play for Wellington College Old Boys. Come along and join up," which I did. First couple of years, I managed to play senior level from day one, which was quite good. But I was just cruising. You know, I was a country boy into town. You know, there was aeroplanes and traffic lights, was a few other attractive things walking around on two legs. So after a couple of years, some guy said to me, "Stu, if you really sort of put your mind to it, you know, you could make a couple of rep teams, you know, under 21s, Wellington juniors, you could make the Bs, the As, there's the New Zealand under 21s, the Colts in those days." And I had the ability to both play at centre and on the wing. So I thought, okay, well, I might just train a bit harder, which I did. And it happened around about 1974, 75. And 76 was the big year for me.
So, yeah, had you grown substantially as well?
Absolutely.
That helped?
Yeah, took it, yeah.
Where'd you get your speed from? Your mother or your father, or running away?
I think it might have been from mum running away from my father. But let's say, no, my father's pretty good. He's a very good golfer, very good cricketer and a rugby player. But mum had the speed. She did track when she was at school, but that's the old grass tracks, you know, where the person would have the stopwatch on, you know, and then suddenly you've done 112 seconds, but really it's 15, but they were just a bit slow in putting the thumb down.
Friend of the family on
Absolutely,
the stopwatch.
She'll get gold, don't worry about that.
Right, gotcha. But things happen pretty quickly. When you're 76, you're off with the All Blacks. Off to Argentina, of all places.
Dreadful country to tour. Dreadful.
Yeah, you would have struggled, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I did. I really did. Curfews over there when we were in '76. We weren't allowed out at night because she was pretty hairy. You know, the old military dictatorship was running that joint over there. But I started off with the New Zealand Colts with Jack Gleeson, right? And I had a good little 3-match tour with him. And then, of course, he got the gig for Argentina later that year. So I think by being with him in the '76 Colts internal tour, he managed to persuade some of the selectors who might take this young kid off to Argentina.
We hear a lot of talk about Jack Gleeson and what he did for the All Blacks. Can you explain to us why he connected so well with young players?
Yeah.
What was it about him?
Wasn't a rant and raver. You know, he was a very mild, quiet, serious, deep thinker of the game. He was a publican from fielding. And he had the ability to be able to talk to anyone. You know, if you're going to talk to the 76 front row forward pack, well, you know, you have to talk on a certain level of both intelligence and stuff like that. You swing around to the brats like me on the wing with Scotty Cartwright, then it's a different sort of thing. And it was basically mad management. He also had a very good manager of the team, Ron Don. People forget about Ron. He had 2 All Black tours as a manager, one to Argentina and one to France, and none of those buggers over there can speak English, so he's struggling. But Jack Gleeson and he was a very deep thinker of the game, and he thought a lot about the game, gave me a lot of one-on-ones. He'd come up to me and say, Wayne, every game I play, this, Stu, this is what you have to do today, mate. I'd like you to make 1 tackle. Not 100.
That's
not 5.
Tally.
I said, Jack, you understand, if I make a tackle today, that's it for the year. That's all I want, Stu. So I can know that he never get up and went, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then he would also encourage you, so when you get the ball, what are you going to do? I said, finish as well as I can. He said, yes, that's what's your main job, is to finish, tries. But can you make 1 tackle? Get in front of other people, make it a little bit messy for them. Just think more defence sometimes. Attack's okay. And that's why I liked him. He didn't say to me, you've got to do this, because I wouldn't have done it.
Tell me about playing on the wing in those days, because our impression, rightly or wrongly, is that perhaps the wings didn't get it very often. Forwards tended to hog the leather.
They might have, but 76 Argentina, we had a very good forward pack, and we're up against some big forward. The Pumas are big, massive, as they are today. They haven't changed. But they were probably a little bit lacking in attacking ability in the backs. They had a Hukapota as their first 5 who could kick and play. But he didn't have a hell of a lot around him. And when you've got loosies like Graham Murray running around and Merv Jaffray and these guys who can get out and link, and when you've got some ball players, then Jack was always very encouraging to say, this is not a 10-man game, this is a 15-man game. You big popos, you're the gatherers, and these boys here, they're the finishers, You bake the cake, and these boys, 11 jerseys, 11, 14 and 15 and 13, they ice it.
Okay.